The Detroit Red Wings think they have the most competitive group of the Steve Yzerman era. 7 years in, by the way.
I think today our team is a little bit more competitive, maybe constructed a little better than it was at this stage last year.
Translation, they feel ready to take the next step. And the biggest reason for that is because the biggest move they made so far this offseason is bringing in goaltender John Gibson from Anaheim. Gibson's been a workhorse for a decade with over 500 NHL starts and a career .910 save percentage. The idea is simple here, folks. Gibson and Cam Talbot, they split the crease, they stop the pucks, and they give the Red Wings a better chance to win every single night. Chances they didn't get last season. Detroit looked like a playoff team mid-season, a huge bump after Todd McClellan took over behind the bench in December, but then a 6-game losing streak in March sank the ship. They finished with 86 points, 5 back of Montreal for the final playoff spot, and extended the franchise's playoff drought to 9 seasons, the longest in their 99-year history. If you were able to grow up in the 90s and watch Detroit play then, it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that they haven't been in the playoffs in 9 years. But there was some good news. Lucas Raymond took another step forward, leading the Wings with 80 points. And their power play, not bad. Top 4 in the NHL at 27%. That mark is their best since the stat has been tracked. Where there's good, there's bad. And for the Red Wings in certain categories, it looked really, really bad. At 5-on-5, they struggled to score goals. Just 143 at even strength, which is bottom 5 in the league. And their penalty kill, absolutely brutal. Dead last at 70%, despite taking the 3rd fewest penalties in the league. So there's a lot to address for Yzerman in the offseason, and he's already started, obviously, bringing in John Gibson as a number 1 goaltender, maybe a number 2. We'll get to that later. Patrick Kane, he re-signed for another year. Plus, they've added some depth signings like James Van Riemsdyk, Mason Appleton, and Jacob Bernard-Docker. On the way out, Vlad Tarasenko, the vet, he went to Minnesota, and Peter Mrazek went to Anaheim in the Gibson deal. So what's still missing for this team? Well, it's a true first-line winger to play with Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond. And listen, I love James Van Riemsdyk, but this isn't prime JVR anymore. He's 36 years old. Can he play in the top 6? Maybe. Should he be in your top 6 if you're a team who wants to make the playoffs for the first time in 9 years? Probably not. And I think they'd also like another experienced defenseman to play with Simon Edvinsson. At this moment in time, I think they're asking a bit too much of sophomore Albert Johansson. And maybe they're asking a bit too much of their goaltending, which leaves me with some big questions. John Gibson hasn't played much lately, and injuries have been a real problem throughout his entire career. It's unfortunate, but it's been somewhat of a pattern. What if he can't get back to the old John Gibson? What if he can't do that? Can the Wings still end this playoff drought without him being the number 1 guy? Can Ken Talbot take on the majority of the starts if John Gibson can't? I don't know. Is the NHL a better place when the Red Wings make the playoffs? I think so. That's just my personal opinion. Can they get there next season? I think they have to right a lot of wrongs, and it starts with the goaltending. And if that does not hit, they're in a lot of trouble, because you can't just go out there mid-season and find a number 1 guy who's going to come in and make all your problems go away. That's just not going to happen. But we have to wait and see to see how the season unfolds. Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Are the Red Wings primed to finally make a playoff push for the first time in 9 years? Or is it just another season of missed chances? Let me know in the comments below.